Hi guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today I'm back here with our patch notes 2.4a review. Now firstly, obviously this is a little bit late, the patch is already live, but part of the fault lies with Riot where they actually released the patch and the patch went live before the patch notes even released. And when the patch notes released this morning, I had to go to work, so I just come back from work, so this is the first available opportunity I can get this video out, so we're gonna cover it right away. But the video won't be in 4K quality. I'm gonna put it in on 720p because it's gonna take really long to process for a 4K video, and the video is already late enough. So in terms of quality, it's not so important for patch notes, more so for gameplay. So let's quickly jump into the actual video. I've got my calculator handy because there's gonna be a lot of calculations happening in this patch notes. So first up, Thresh has already been released. As you guys can see, already been released. I'm sure you guys saw him in your games. Of course, with the Pulsefire skin, Darkstar, Kha'Zix, and Varus are going to be released really soon. I believe it's tomorrow. And both of these are one of the best skins for their respective champions. So if you guys play them, might want to pick it up. We have the current event, the mini event, which will give you the flying off the handle bauble. And there's also a new mini boss icon added. Not sure how to get that. And yep, here, join the fluffed event. It's one of those standard mini events that they have run multiple times with these 5 missions where after you complete it, you'll get a small reward. So, now on to the champion changes themselves. So first up, Akshan, very expectedly getting a buff. So, in League PC, he got hotfixed multiple times just because of how weak he was. So they had to release him really weak. Because of his Scoundrel passive, where he could revive his teammates if he killed Scoundrel, so they couldn't release him to be OP, because if that was the case, he would just be reviving everybody and it would be really unfair to the enemy team. So they released him at a really weak state. So now they're slowly buffing him back up. His attack growth per level going up from 3.6 to 4.5. That translates to roughly 15 AD at max level. Base mana going up. Not really too important. Base mana regen going up, not really too important as well. He's not exactly the most mana hungry champion. Starting bonus attack speed going up by 10%. This is going to be useful to apply his passive. And his passive movement speed going up at max level. Or not really at max level, but the growth is higher from 40 to 80 up to 40 and 120. So every time you level up, your dirty fighting movement speed is going to be going up by quite a significant amount per level. Avenger rank mana cost is going down. Combined with the mana changes over here, Akshan shouldn't really be having much mana issues. And his ultimate cooldown is going down by 15 seconds at base level and 5 seconds at max level. That's of course good, can use it more often, but honestly his ultimate is pretty bad because it always gets blocked by either minions, towers, or other enemy champions that you're not trying to hit. And the ultimate, however, can now execute minions. So it has the updating execute components on minions as well. So hopefully with that you can smash through the minions more quickly and get to the actual enemy champion you're trying to hit. So that might actually help. Now it's hard to tell if this change will make Akshan viable, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. Although I don't think Akshan will ever truly be meta, because if that was the case, he'll just be reviving his team non-stop. I think they just need to get him into a state where he's at least viable, and this might be the change that makes him enter that state. So we will have to see. Annie getting a, of course, magic number 40 base health nerf, as well as a increased mana cost by 10 per level on her W. Honestly, don't really think Annie needed a buff. I rarely see Annie played. Maybe it's some low elo changes. But honestly, Annie, the only thing that really matters is her flash tibbers or her pro belt tibbers. So they didn't really touch like her damage. They didn't really touch her ultimate or anything like that. So probably isn't really going to affect her too much at all. Blitzcrank, his Q damage is going up by 20 per level. Honestly, this change doesn't really matter. The hook is mainly just used for your AD carry or for your team to burst them. Your own damage isn't really very important, so this probably is an insignificant change. Camille getting quite a huge change though. Her stun duration on her E when jumping off the wall is going down by 0.25 seconds. Of course, since it is a 1 second stun, that's actually 1/4 of its duration cut off. so that could make the difference. And her Hextech Ultimatum getting the Evelyn treatment, getting a higher cooldown of 10 seconds at all levels, so can use her out less often. So overall, it's a nerf to Camille, of course, so we have to see how that affects her. Probably will tone her down a little bit, but probably she's still going to be pretty good, because they didn't actually reduce her damage on her Q or anything. Corki getting a nerf on his armor. So now this is actually only a 0.4 armor nerf, and with my calculator, a total that's 6 armor throughout his entire levels. So on one hand, 6 armor is pretty insignificant, but on the other hand, Corki only builds armor on his last item, which is Guardian Angel. So as we all know from the graph of armor and damage reduction, at early, when you have lower amounts of armor, every addition in your armor or any reduction in your armor will make a huge difference to the damage reduction that it does. Whereas at like higher armor, like 120 armor, 130 armor, it matters a lot less. So 6 armor when Corki already has very low armor actually will make a difference. And of course, his cooldown on his W is going up by 2 seconds at all levels, just reducing his safety tool, making sure he has it up less often. However, they did not actually hit his damage directly, but later on there are item changes that we are going to cover. Actually, you know what, we're going to actually just skip through the champion changes, or not skip through, but we're actually going to cover the item changes first, because that will actually affect some of the champions we're going to cover, like Lucian. So first up, Bloodthirster combined cost going up by, or a total cost going up by 100, but they're giving 10 extra 80 because of that. 100 extra gold for 1080, pretty worth it. Draven is gonna like it, and they're trying to make it a little bit more of a viable item for 80 carries, but honestly, most 80 carries will go for the 3 item combo of Essence Reaver, Solari Charge Blade, and Infinity Edge, where the Charge Blade and Infinity Edge are interchangeable in terms of order. So this is the 3 item Charge Blade combo. I like to call it the 3 item Charge Blade combo of patch 2.4. Then they would go for a armor penetration item, either the Grudge or the Moral Reminder, and then they probably go for GA or that's a defensive item. So honestly, hard to incorporate Bloodthirster into the build unless you want to trade off one of your unless you want to trade off your defensive item for it, but you already hit 100% crit with Charge Blade, so honestly don't think this change is going to help in terms of what they're aiming for, but it is going to help people like Draven or maybe even Graves who built Bloodthirster. Essence Reaver combined cost, or the total cost, I keep saying combined cost, is going up by 150, and Ability Haste going down by 5. Now honestly, 5 Ability Haste is not really a huge deal, but combined cost going up by 150 is gonna of course delay it slightly. So overall, of course, Essence Reaver being used by a lot of people in the Charge Blade combo, and even besides that, is being used by even people like Rengar, or a lot of people can use the Essence Reaver. So it is a reasonable nerf. Needlessly Large Rot. Now this is a little bit of a complicated change. Needlessly Large Rot's ability power is going down by 5, and its combined cost is going up by 100. So getting your Needlessly Large Rots is gonna not only be more expensive, but it's also gonna give you less AP. However, your Death Cap combined cost is going down by 200. So since it consists of 2 Needlessly Large Rots, overall, the total cost of a Rabadon's Death Cap remains the same. And however, since each Needlessly Large Rot gives you 5 less AP, overall you get 10 less AP for the same total cost. So overall, of course, it's a nerf to Death Cap because of the fact that you're getting less AP as you're building its components, and overall you're also getting less AP. So it's a overall 10 AP nerf to Death Cap. Probably will still make Death Cap, won't make Death Cap unviable. Everybody's still gonna build Death Cap as per normal, but it's good for people playing into it. Charge Blade combined cost going up by 100, or a total cost going up by 100, of course. So total cost of the Charge Blade 3 item combo is going to go up by 250, which is overall quite a significant nerf to people who use it, like Lucian and Corki, which is why I said that I want to mention it first. So Corki, the Charge Blade 3 item combo nerf combined with his nerfs is probably going to hit him, I wouldn't say pretty hard, but it's going to make a difference. So he's going to be a lot more vulnerable to other AD carries or other AD mid laners. and less safe and higher item cost. So, but honestly, I predict he's still gonna be top tier. I just think it's gonna be easier to deal with him. Mundo getting a 40 HP buff. Of course, the magic number again. He did get a 40 HP nerf previously, so this is just reverting that. His base health regen going up from 9 to 12 by 3. So this is something to watch out for, because of course Mundo is all about the regen. His health cost on the infected cleaver going down by 15 at base level, actually at all levels. So they really are buffing Mundo, and his ult health regen going up by 10% at all levels. So they're trying to buff Mundo quite a significant amount. Everything about his health related is going up, which of course is something to look out for. So Mundo is going to be better into basically everybody, but of course Mundo is a counter pick against heavy AP teams, so that's something to look out for. Mundo, in my opinion, is already pretty tanky, so this is going to make him a lot more tanky because he has a lot more health. Now Fizz getting a nerf on 3 accounts. So first up, his damage to monsters going down to 120. So it's really weird because they buffed it to 200%. They nerfed it to 150. Now they're nerfing it again to 120. So now between what it used to be, which is 100, and now 120, it's only a 20% difference overall. So Fizz jungle, in terms of Fizz jungle, is going almost back to its what it used to be. His Playful Trickster cooldown is going up by 0.5 at all levels again, in addition to the 0.5 they gave him last time. So overall 1 second, 1 second nerf to his cooldown. Not too major in my opinion. 1 second is not too bad, but his ult cooldown is pretty bad though. It's the Evelyn treatment yet again, going up by 15 seconds at base level and 5 seconds at max level. So of course, at max level, it's not really going to matter too much, but at base level, it's going to matter, because if he gets less ults off, he gets less kills, and if he gets less kills, he gets to snowball less hard. So it is going to actually make a difference. Graves getting a roughly a 1 base 80 nerf per level, so roughly it's 1580 at max level. Nothing too major, but if you go for the Essence Reaver build like I do, you're also going to feel the Essence Reaver nerf on Graves. But of course, Graves is a top tier jungler at the moment. Tier list for patch 2.4a gonna come out real soon. I'm definitely gonna cover that. So Graves, a good nerf to him. Now here we get into the first relatively big change, which is the Jax buff. So it's quite a mouthful. First up, he got a nerf on his base bonus attack speed from 20 to 10. However, in compensation, he's getting a buff to his passive. So previously, you only get up to 8 stacks. Now you can get up to 10 stacks, where your max stacks gives 11.4, where it used to give 12. However, each attack gives 2 stacks of Relentless Assault. Of course, his passive is giving him extra attack speed for those of you who don't know. So previously you took 8 attacks to reach the max stacks of 12. Now you take 5 attacks to reach the max stacks of 11.4. So overall, 5 attacks instead of 8 is a pretty huge difference. And although the attack speed is slightly less, overall this is a buff. Now Jack's Counter Strike, he takes 25% reduced damage from champions during his defensive stance. So of course that is where he is spinning his staff, where he doesn't take damage. I don't actually think it's where he's spinning his staff, honestly, because he doesn't take damage from there already. I think it's after he releases his staff and gets the stun off. I think during that small period of time he gets an increased damage reduction, but obviously this is just going to make him more tanky, whatever the case is. He's going to make him more tanky, going to give him more attack speed in a shorter amount of time. And yeah, so overall this could make a huge difference in the Baron lane. So over here we got Lucian nerfs. So honestly pretty expected. Lucian first up got a 6 base 80 buff. This is to compensate for roughly the 2 80 per level nerf. So of course this is going to mean 30 AD in total at max rank. So that's almost like a 1 BF sword nerf. That's a pretty huge nerf to his AD. But he's probably still going to be pretty good, I think. I don't think a 30 AD nerf is going to kick Lucian completely out of the meta, but it's definitely going to tone down his damage. So this is definitely going to make a difference. And in addition, he got the Quirky treatment where he got a 0.4 armor nerf. So that is going to make him more squishy, more easy to kill. But overall, I think Lucian is still going to be in a relatively okay spot. He's getting a 1 second nerf on Relentless Pursuit, but honestly going for Essence Reaver and Solari Charge Blade and with all the ability haste, this isn't really going to matter too much. 1 second is not going to make a difference at all. At early levels maybe, so this first like maybe 2 ranks is going to matter, but after you get your items it really isn't going to matter all too much. So of course, pretty nasty buff to Lucian in terms of his AD right here, but Master Yi getting a huge buff. So apparently he is underperforming according to Riot. I highly disagree. I already think that Master Yi is a threat to deal with, because if nobody stomps on him in the early game, in the late game he is gonna be a threat, especially with the new 2.4 build, like having Navori Quick Blades and all. But he's getting a 0.4 armor buff opposite of Corki and Lucian, and his Alpha Strike damage to monsters going up by 15 at all levels, which will make his clear faster. His Uju style, which is his auto attack enhancer, getting a buff of 16 at max level and 7 at base level. Yeah, so this is gonna be pretty nasty because it's gonna make him do a lot more true damage. So this is, I have no idea what they're thinking here. And here is the most insane change: is his ult cooldown going down by 10 seconds at base level, but 20 seconds at max level, and if movement speed going up by 10% at all levels. So he is getting a huge buff all around the board. So this might actually make Master Yi insane. Maybe not in high elo, but in low elo definitely is gonna make him insane. His new 2.4 build plus all these buffs, he's gonna be stomping low elo for sure. In high elo, it's still debatable, because for people who know how to deal with him, you're just gonna invade him at early levels, and these changes or the item changes is not gonna mean anything when you're just stomping on him in the early ranks. But when he gets to late game, Master Yi just gonna be insane with this short of an out cooldown, this kind of movement speed, all the new items, this kind of true damage. It's just gonna be insane. So late game Master Yi really scary. Rammus apparently has not say apparently, his clear speed definitely is a problem. He has pretty much the lowest clear speed in the entire game, but they just nerfed his clear speed like 3 patches ago, I think. So now they're kind of trying to fix the problem. His mana regen per level going down by 0.2, not sure why, don't really think it matters. Magic resist per level getting cut in half, which is pretty insane. I had no idea why they're suddenly reducing his magic resistance by half. His defensive ball curl, which is the one where he reflects damage, his damage to monsters going from 100 to 150. Of course, that's going to help his clear. His ult base damage is going down at all levels, and his aftershock damage is going down as well. So pretty much it's a buff to his jungle clear, and it's a nerf to everything else. I have no idea why Rammus needs nerfs, because he is not really performing at all in the jungle. Maybe in low elo he might be good, but I'm not too sure about that. But I have no idea why they're nerfing Rammus. Regardless of the case, it's probably gonna hurt him quite a bit because of his ult damage is nerfed, his aftershock damage is nerfed, which is the main rune he takes. His magic resist is getting cut in half, so his tankiness is gonna take a huge hit. And you normally want to pick Rammus into AD teams anyway, so if you're picking him into AP, which is what this is going to affect, you're already in trouble, and this is going to make you doubly in trouble. And yeah, so no idea what they're doing here. Rengar, they're giving him a nerf because obviously I actually seen him pick quite a lot, and his one-shot potential is insane. Base damage of his Battle Roar is going down at early levels, but at max level it's the same. Bola Strike slow is going down at early levels, and max level is the same, so it's hurting his early game and his snowball potential. And his ult cooldown is going up in the early game. Honestly, I don't think these two changes matter too much, because the main important parts about Rengar is his ult and his first ability. His first ability is where all his damage lies. His ult allows you to trigger his passive to jump onto someone, and also the movement speed to catch up to them. So his ult change is probably the one that will hurt. It's going up by 10 seconds in the early level, so you can get it off less. So overall, less snowball potential for Rengar. I like this change because I hate getting one shot by Rengar, but overall, as like a change to Rengar in the meta, I don't think this is gonna hurt him all too much. Honestly, a 10-second cooldown nerf for his ult is not gonna matter too much. Seraphine getting technically a bug fix, but it's basically a buff, because her beat drop will now correctly apply damage before checking if target is slowed. So it basically means your Rylai's Crystal Scepter interaction is going to work as intended, right? If you use your E once, you can't actually proc Rylai's, which is the way it was supposed to be all along. No idea why they took like 100 patches, not literally, to fix this bug on Seraphine. So Soraka getting a really interesting buff. So the cooldown to her Astral Fusion, which is her W heal, is going down on the first rank by a significant amount, from 8 to 5 seconds, and in max rank it's still 2 seconds. But if you cast it when you're rejuvenated, the health cost will be reduced by 70% in base level and 100% in max level. So being rejuvenated is when you hit your Q and you get the and you become rejuvenated, you heal your ally. So reducing the health cost by 70% is a huge boost to her. So essentially she's indirectly getting some form of sustain. You could see it in that way, and this would make her run out of health way less quickly, because she is technically damaging herself to heal her ally. Now this problem is really the impact of this is minimized, and at max rank of her W it is really gone. So if you go for like a W max in lane, you are probably still in the laning phase when this happens, so you could actually heal your ally for free. So, but of course Soraka is horrible into like engaged supports like Thresh and Leona. But if you play her into Enchanter supports, or into poke lanes, like if you're against like a Janna Ezreal who's like just poking non-stop, as long as you're not the one taking the poke, you let your AD carry take the poke, you heal them up, you're gonna overall kind of win the lane. So she might actually be good into Enchanters or into poke lanes. So Soraka might actually move up in the tier list, and her stock has definitely risen. So we have already covered the item changes, and that is pretty much it for this video, guys. So thanks for watching this video, and goodbye.